Silhouette shooting is a challenging discipline. Shooting as far as 500 meters with enough energy to knock down a 60-pound steel ram. I've suggested silhouette may be the most difficult of the rifle sports. But while we weren't paying attention, handgun silhouette competition has advanced to the same distances, thanks to new cartridges and new guns. It's now really long shooting for the International Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association's World Championships. Summer in Oklahoma City, triple-digit temperatures and high winds. But that's no problem for those competing in the International Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association's World Championships. They're shooting handguns like this at steel targets representing game animals as far out as 500 meters. Jim Fields has been the match director at the Oklahoma City Gun Club for 33 years.
That new shooter comes out and he hears that bullet clang on the target, we pretty well got the hook in him.
The hook is getting into a lot of people for this event. More than 120 shooters are here from the U.S., Canada, South America, and Australia, with some of the distances the same as NRA rifle silhouette. They're pushing the limits of what can be done in precision handgunning.
You shoot targets clear out to 500 meters. Of course, 200 meters makes their jaw drop, but 500 meters, they think you're lying to them.
It is no lie, and it's amazing how accurate these guys and gals are. They're the best in the world shooting the different disciplines in IHMSA competition. Among them, Ultra 500, the first 500-meter event featured in the World Championships. Categories broken down by handgun action, sights, caliber, and shooting positions. To score a hit, the 60-pound ram, for instance, has to be knocked off its stand.
If you hit the target and it does not fall off the stand, you're still putting a 0 on the scorecard.
You have 30 seconds. Later.
Shooters are on the clock and have a set amount of time to fire on a bank of 5 targets. For the World Championships, in most every discipline, if 80 targets fall, that's a perfect score. And only the best in the world can do that.
A lot of people can stay with them for 4 or 5 shots, but not for 80. They can't have the endurance and the concentration that they maintain.
And all of that while shooting out to incredible distances for a handgun. The Ultra 500 discipline uses big bore guns and starts at 200 meters.
Good hit.
It's challenging enough to hit the chickens at 200.
Good hit.
After 20 shots at chickens, next up are the pigs at 300 meters. Then it's turkeys at 385. That's more than 4 football fields away. Now the rams at 500 meters, which is almost a third of a mile. Traditional handgun silhouette competition is from 100 to 200 meters. But the folks at the IHMSA World Championships have helped to advance this sport, some say, thanks in part to very stable shooting positions, like the Creedmoor. Silhouette rules, by the way, say no part of the gun may touch the ground. Warren Alkire demonstrates the Creedmoor position.
And then you want the elbow out that gives you somewhat of a tripod.
That tripod provides stability for long shots and helps control recoil.
And that's because when this gun fires, it's going to recoil easily to this much.
The majority of the shooters at the Oklahoma City Gun Club shoot out of the Creedmoor or a related position colorfully named the dead frog.
Where basically you cross your legs and would shoot across this way.
And others shoot the Fields flop position, created by Jim Fields 13 years ago. It's become popular as far away as Australia and Brazil, but you do have to control the recoil to keep the scope out of your eye.
You use your elbow and your 5 fingers as a tripod. And you rest the gun on top of your wrist and you drop your head onto the back of the gun just like you would a cheek piece on a rifle and press down on the finger that's underneath the grip, which stabilizes the back of the gun and allows a steadier position.
The field's flop. One more example on how creative competition is advancing long-range handgun accuracy. So they're hitting targets in Oklahoma City that are far out. But there's a lot that goes into making those shots. This shooting discipline requires specific guns, the right cartridges, and precise loads. Shooting USA is brought to you by STI and the continuing evolution of the 1911, and by Comtac Everyday Carry Holsters. There are a lot of factors involved in winning in handgun metallic silhouette. First, decide which position to shoot from, and that affects the choice of gun. Then choose the right cartridge and the right load, and figure the wind. Then you're ready to shoot a heavy target, which can be a long way out. There is no arguing in handgun silhouette shooting because the target either falls or it doesn't.
It's a reactive target that something happens when you pull a trigger. Either you miss or you see the target go over. And that's a big draw.
A big draw for some, but too hard for others. It's difficult to knock over a 60-pound ram at 500 meters. And if the target is hit and doesn't fall,
well, that's not very good.
that's called a ringer. And that's a 0 on the scorecard instead of an X. But it does happen on a regular basis because of the many variables in this sport, like which cartridge to choose, what kind of load to go with, and accounting for the wind. But in the end, it comes down to this.
You have to make a balance between the power, or the impact of the bullet and the corresponding recoil.
The majority of the shooters at the International Handgun Metallic Silhouette Association's World Championships shoot off their backs. That lets them go with a more powerful cartridge and a heavier load with plenty of recoil. 6-time champion Scott Thompson shoots a Remington XP100 chambered in Remington 260. During the competition, Scott competed in 15 classes and shot more than 1,200 rounds. Still, he admits that there is no such thing as the perfect cartridge.
You sort of have to do some experimenting because some bullets are made to blow up real easy. The bullet blows up on the steel and it won't push it over. So you kind of have to play with it and see what works.
Scott says another popular cartridge in the unlimited and the production class is the 6.5 bench rest. Others swear by the 7mm BR, and some shoot .308. Whatever the cartridge, Scott prefers a bullet weight of 120 to 130 grains. Bolt-action Remington XPs are almost always the top finishers in the unlimited and unlimited any sight category, and that held true for the competition in Oklahoma City. The flop position is a relatively new innovation that provides a slightly more stable position and the opportunity to use higher power scopes like Jim Field's 40 power. But there is a trade-off. To keep the scope out of the shooter's eye, a muzzle brake and a less powerful cartridge have to be used. The 6mm bench rest has just enough power to knock over the rams, but has little margin if the wind, rail, or target conditions aren't ideal.
You got him right out on the nose, I think.
For silhouette shooting, accuracy and bullet energy are needed to knock down the targets. But there's a trick to dialing it in correctly.
You back off of the velocity, so if you get it going too fast, it'll vaporize the bullet on the face of the target and not knock it over. And a lot of new shooters make the mistake thinking they're having to go up on velocity, whereas they should be going down to some extent.
Jim Fields should know he's won 22 world championships in 33 years. He says the key is a will to win and the desire to experiment. Jim is also proud of his Oklahoma range, the only one in the world that has a pneumatic auto reset system. And that Oklahoma range is open to you if you want to bring out your TC Encore or 500 Magnum. The association will make you welcome if you're ready to try some long shots.